Okay, guys, welcome to a fresh and brand new episode of WrestleSlam, the podcast. I'm joined by the legend Bucko G, Joe Rush, and we've got special guest Nigel. Nigel's a big fan of the WrestleSlam podcast.
What's up?
What's happening, Nigel? Now, obviously, we're going to talk all things SummerSlam. And as you said, look, we have a big show lined up here, guys. So it's going to go balls deep right into it. Joe, SummerSlam, for me, it was a decent pay-per-view for you. What did you think? And were you pissed off at Seth Rollins and the outcome? Because, look, that was being built up to be a match and something that could have been like, Cody coming out. We were saying Bray Wyatt, maybe, fucking God only knows. But what's your thoughts, first of all, on SummerSlam? What stood out for you and how was it for you?
I thought it was a great pay-per-view overall. You had the hint of Triple H and what he's planning to do, but obviously part of the show, a lot of the show would have been pre-booked before Vince left and before he got creative control. So the first match, Becky and Bianca, they just can't put on bad matches. They're so well gelled together. I'm glad that Becky's a face again. I think that was Triple H's decision to make her face. People are still cheering her anyway, so you might as well see how it works. There's plenty of fucking heels on the roster as it is. So glad to see Dakota Kai and Io Shirai, or Io Sky, as they're calling her, on the main roster as well. Because Io's been the best wrestler on the fucking planet for the last couple of years. The fact that she was almost released or almost just left her contract and walked away. All she wanted to do was go onto the main roster, and Vince wouldn't let her. And he apparently turned this faction down last year. So. Yeah. Roll with it. Bailey's fucking unreal. Like, she can be the mouthpiece and, have the two girls do the dirty work for her. Like, maybe they'll bring back the women's tag team titles with this faction as well in place. There's a lot of women on the Raw roster at the moment. And from what I've heard, there's rumors today that the Raw show tonight is going to be unmissable because it's the first real Raw that he's in control of, where they're not booking, a SummerSlam pay-per-view ahead of it. So I can see a lot more surprises tonight, so I'm pumped for that.
And Joe, what was your instant reaction to Bailey coming out and then the two girls following up? Was that a fucking holy shit moment for you?
Yeah. Like I said, like Io Shirai is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. Definitely deserves to be up there and competing. So I'm hoping that it'll lead to some sort of big fucking, gang war eventually. Like, probably maybe Survivor Series or later on. Like, but bring on Bailey and Bianca Belair, because that's going to be a hell of a match. And I can't wait for Cardiff now that I'm going. Like, hopefully we're going to get all these women fucking in a big fucking feud. So
yeah, look, I think I'm going to have to join the bandwagon there and try and get in that Cardiff show as well. I'll have to try and fucking
that'd be some show.
Try and buy my son an extra few presents, and maybe he'll let Daddy go away.
We might get Seth Rollins and Riddle at that as well. I'm kind of glad when you mentioned the Seth Rollins thing, but I'm glad they didn't have another surprise, because they had the surprise at WrestleMania with Cody and Seth, so it wouldn't make sense to do the same spot again where he has a surprise opponent. Like, it keeps the feud going. I don't know whether Riddle's legit hurt or what's going on, like, but hopefully they're just holding off until Cardiff.
No, I love it. Nigel, obviously, look, you were you were the lucky guys to get into the Macau Casino for SummerSlam. What was your thoughts on the pay-per-view itself?
To be honest, I was happy to see Becky Lynch actually turn heel, or face, sorry, because I didn't think that she was as good as a heel as she was as a face. But I think, like, her being a face there and being kind of the woman, or like Stone Cold Steve Austin, kind of female Austin kind of personality, would suit right in with her. And I think that, like, being a heel was actually a bad move, because, like, for Becky Lynch, before the time there, she had the feud there with Ronda Rousey, going back there a few years ago, like that, where she was up in her face. And then when Austin came out another time and she drank beer with Austin, and the face actually suits in with her.
No.
So it'll be interesting to see now what they're going to do with her next now. Like, but like, it's definitely Triple H's idea to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sure, when you look at Raw now, right, and like, what I mean, there's already tweets going out, like, grip in for tonight's Raw, because look, it seems like Triple H is fully behind production. He's a guy that we respect in the business for being, one of the biggest workhorses ever. We watched some of his interviews there leading up to SummerSlam. We've seen a lot of the UK lads and American lads asking the questions. And look, he said a big factor now for him is, he knows what sleep is. He's getting the sleep. You know what I mean? That was pure Triple H to say something like that. But is it the case of, look, moving forward, it might be like the times of us growing up in the 90s and the early 90s where there was almost a big fucking surprise every 2-3 weeks. Are we going to see people reappear? Are contracts going to be renewed? Are we going to see, is Cesaro looking at himself right now saying, fuck, I joined All Elite Wrestling, maybe
Be an interesting couple of weeks, I'm telling you.
It's going to be mad. Is it going to be the case we might see some of the guys that left and they might come back? What you see happening tonight in Raw? What you see happening?
I think there's, we had the surprise of Bayley coming back at SummerSlam, so I'll say there's going to be a few more surprises tonight. Whether Charlotte comes back, I'm not sure what her situation is. Is she still injured or she's just taking time off? But not expecting people straight away tonight. Likes of Johnny Gargano and Karrion Kross and people like that who are not under contract with anybody, who can show up whenever they want. Triple H adores them. He was behind his big push in NXT before they fucked everything up, and then they brought him to the main roster and put him in a gimp suit. I trust Triple H if they bring him back to make him the monster that he actually is, because he's a talent. That his persona, with Scarlett, it just works. I don't know why they fucked it up so much. So I'm just hoping that his creative side of things, he's going to treat it like a NXT with a bigger budget. Because in all honesty, NXT lost, even though I don't call it a war, the Wednesday night wars to AEW, because NXT didn't have the budget that AEW had, even though it was part of WWE. They were literally, all they had was whatever they had. So competing with AEW wasn't something they did. They had that one place, with PC, wherever they were shooting from in Orlando. They never went around to different venues like AEW does. They traveled around, even though during the pandemic they were stuck in Jacksonville. But this is going to be like NXT on a big budget with Raw. Maybe not so much SmackDown. I think Raw, because it's 3 hours, he's going to have to, hype up the show throughout the show, and tell stories and make you want to stay for the 3 hours, because something they need is, I don't see them losing the 3 hours anytime soon. I don't think he's going to drop that anytime soon. I don't think he's that kind of power yet to just drop that kind of advertising revenue. So expect big surprises, expect returns, but I also expect a little bit of freedom on promos and creative for some of the bigger stars that, they're not going to be so badly scripted. And you could tell straight away with Michael Cole at SummerSlam that, he hasn't got Vince shouting in his ear through the whole pay-per-view. You could tell Michael Cole was on fire on Sunday night or Saturday night. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and you mentioned promos. We have to mention Ciampa with the Miz. Fucking hell, he's cutting some promos with the Miz, isn't he?
Yeah, I love Ciampa, and him and Triple H had a great partnership as well. He let him, book a lot of NXT stuff while it was the black and gold. So I'm hoping Ciampa gets a better opportunity.
Sorry, reception's bad.
It's all good, Nigel. So Nigel, look, what's your take on Raw tonight? Can you see some big stuff happening at Raw with Triple H now in full control?
Yeah, as Joe was saying there, I can see big things happening and changes, like a 3 hour show now. And I know it's not going to be it's not going to be too quick. It's going to be a slow process over the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months. Big things are going to happen. There'll be, as we saw there at SummerSlam there, like Brock Lesnar lifting up the ring. Was that kind of like an example of Triple H is doing to say that this is the start of what's to come, And I'd say there'll be more surprises tonight on Raw, but I'd say over the next couple of weeks, months, going into next year, I'd say there will be big changes, surprise returns, and at least there'll be more interesting matches now that the PG is scrapped as well.
Yeah, and Nigel, when you were watching SummerSlam, obviously, look, I think I kind of looked over your direction. I was like, look, you told me what happened via Seth Rollins and the whole Riddle thing. Were you surprised that there wasn't, a big name return? Obviously, look, we've seen you know, obviously the 3 girls came back, which is incredible, and that was fucking huge, and that was a great way to kind of open the show. And obviously Edge came back, which is incredible. You know, he had a good look. I think Edge is going to go on a fucking rampage again. But can you see Triple H bring back some names? You know, do you reckon people are mentioning Bray Wyatt? You know,
that'd be interesting to see that.
Yeah, do you reckon anyone will come back? Anyone in particular you might say that could come back?
I'd say Bray Wyatt, all right, but I'd say like he'd be definitely back anyway before the Rumble there next year, so he could come back there at a special pay-per-view there in the next couple of months.
Yeah,
unexpectedly, but it'll be interesting. And I'd say like I'd like to see like Johnny Gargano come back as well.
Yeah,
the team with Ciampa, because they were a great team in NXT when they were a tag team. So I feel that Ciampa hasn't been pushed enough on his own, and to get a good start, they need to bring back that team again just to move up on Raw, and then maybe there might be a turn afterwards then.
Yeah.
And again, the same with the Mysterios. I'd like to see Dominic Mysterio turn on way, which was, there was rumors that was supposed to happen at SummerSlam, but it never did. But I have a feeling that they might hold that off to the Survivor Series, where they might tease a split there when Ray might cost Dominic the match in the team, and then the feud could go into the Royal Rumble. Who knows?
And who knows? Maybe Rey Mysterio will turn on Dominic.
Maybe. Possibly anything can happen now with
WWE. He might say you're weak, son. You know, there might be some sort of a fucking, you know.
That would be nice. That would be nice to see as well, because Ray has never been a heel, I don't think, ever in his career.
No, and
even in WCW.
You know, he's getting to the edge out. He might have a midlife crisis too, you know.
He was booed once, though. He's never been. He was booed once at that Royal Rumble when everybody thought it was going to be Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan at number 30. Remember, he came out and everybody booed him, and it didn't happen. I was like, oh, how did he boo Rey Mysterio?
Yeah, I remember that actually. That was people still bring that up actually, which is interesting.
That was Philadelphia whenever Roman won. The Rock came out and helped him. Like, that was terrible book Royal Rumble. Like, but booing Rey Mysterio, like, it was like.
And booing The Rock, Jesus Christ, The Rock was given the look around the stadium. But no, it's going to be an interesting Raw tonight. We're looking forward to the midweek show. Guys, don't forget this show is sponsored by Manscaped.com. Do check out the 4.0 package. And yes, again, you know, we have that promo package code. It is WrestleSlam. So do type in WrestleSlam. 20% off, guys, and as you say, free delivery. So check out manscaped.com. And to anyone out there, look, there's always people reaching out. We have a brand new show sponsor, so tune into our midweek show as well. All the details will be there and they're on Twitter as well. But as you say, if you want to get on board with the WrestleSlam podcast, you know, we're doing steady numbers every single week, then you're more than welcome to do so. Just reach out to us at WrestleSlam@outlook.com, or reach out to the team on Twitter, on the WrestleSlam podcast Twitter page as well. We're more than happy to have, you know, people on board. So if you want to get on board with WrestleSlam the podcast and be part of our shows and power our shows, then do reach out to us ASAP and we'd be happy to talk to you. So we have to move on. If someone tuned into SummerSlam at 4:30 in the morning, or just woke up and they're getting ready to go to work and they see the ring absolutely capsized to the fucking right, what would they say?
Hornswoggle was underneath the ring and got a fucking boner.
Yes,
I don't know. It was such a spectacle. Like, you know, they've done the collapsing ring with Brock Lesnar and the Big Show. Like, you know, there's only one way they could go, and that was up. So it was crazy to see. I apparently, from what I read earlier today, that some of it didn't go to plan, and he was a bit more aggressive than he was supposed to be. I think moving the ring about fucking 6 feet towards the announcers. Whenever fucking Corey Graves shouted he was sitting in fucking Kid Rock's lap after he fucking smashed into it. He could have fucking collapsed the whole ring. I'm surprised it stayed up. Like, you know, when it was that angle, I thought it was going to snap in half because all the boards would just fucking start fucking falling off. But
yeah, it was crazy to see, you know. And again, like I noticed as well with SummerSlam, a lot of the matches was fast movements. You know, they were being tossed around the place and everything. It was just similar to watching like a match that used to be in the 90s, you know.
It was, and like,
they definitely reinforced this too.
Yeah, like they were saying, because like obviously, like, you know what I mean, you technically you have like there's technically and there's like fucking spectacle. And people are saying spectacle wise is probably the fucking greatest match of all time. Do you think that's a bit far fetched, or?
Greatest match of all time? No, probably greatest last man standing match. Greatest Brock and Roman match of all time. And there's been plenty of them, so I think this one stood the test. Like, no, you know, not another one. Like, but it's the same with the Usos and Street Profits. Not another one, but the fucking matches are always epic.
Yeah, and what you said there with Brock as well, going a bit fucking too fat. That sounds like Brock. And who's going to fucking say it to him as well? Like, you know what I mean? There's no one going to say it to him. Like.
Nobody.
He was just throwing suplexes around and tossing them around and everything. It was just crazy to see, you know.
But even the jump from the tractor was fucking mad, like, because that I'd pop my quads doing that, like, but like Brock just fucking did it and made it look easy, like.
If years left in him, I'd say he's not slowing down yet.
I'm curious. Is he done? This talks he's
done.
No,
he's day one pay-per-view in January 1st. He's
advertised. I heard that as well.
He's still with them. I don't know what he does now. Like, you know, he can't keep challenging for world titles, so I don't know. Bobby Lashley for the US title, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and
they've unfinished business as well.
Yeah, and like how good, Nigel, how good did Bobby look? Fucking Bobby looked like the man. The entrance was incredible. Yeah. Bobby, he got a good pop. He's looking good.
Yeah, I think that that heel turn really put him on the road, because like before the heel turn there, people were like, Bobby who, like nobody liked him, and the heel then and then turning him into a face now is like everybody is giving him respect, and he's actually looking better than he ever did.
Yeah, no, he looked amazing. I must say that intro, the entrance coming out, it was incredible, and he did, like, he got a big pop as well, and he's a serious specimen. You know what I mean? He really is a serious specimen. But yeah,
definitely unfinished business with himself and Lesnar, like, you know. But I'd like to see it like face versus face now, you know, Lesnar versus Lashley in a match, which would be interesting, you know.
Yeah. Joe, I have to ask you, what Brock do you prefer? Do you prefer the first Brock or the Brock we have now? That's a good question, I think.
I think they're complete opposites, but this reincarnation of Brock is brilliant. It's funny, like this. It's not, you know, for years we've seen him just standing there saying nothing and, you know, just killing people, and Paul Heyman does all the dirty work for him. Like, so this is nice. You know, it's a nice change of pace. Like, he's smiling, he's got his cowboy hat on, he's fucking, you know, driving tractors and chopping up fucking meat with butchers on fucking YouTube. I was only watching a fucking episode of the Bearded Butchers there when he was on it. It's fucking brilliant. So it's nice to see the human side of him. You know, he still doesn't, you know, like to be around. He doesn't want people fucking near him. Like, he doesn't do meet and greets and shit like that. Like, but you know, he's definitely winding down to the end of his career now. So it's going to be that stage where he gives up and stays at home and, you know, becomes a hermit, you know, or, you know, does he go around the scenes, you know, like people retire from WWE and go off doing meet and greets and fucking, you know, can you imagine him doing it inside the ropes or some shit like that? Like, it would be fucking unbelievable. Like.
Awesome. What would happen to someone if they trespassed Brock Lesnar's fucking yard?
He's a butcher. We're like the fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre in Canada.
But imagine some guy getting lost in the fucking motorway, right? And there's a big don't trespass sign, and anyway, you fucking walk halfway up the field, you see a house, and Brock Lesnar standing at the fucking door, like, he'd catch you, no problem, like.
One person that don't seem to care about us now is Chris Jericho. You heard about him about the time there with the Randy Orton and Brock incident, and he got in Lesnar's face and he's going to bite his nose off and the whole lot like that. Like, I think Chris Jericho has gone absolutely lupo, like he's gone crazy. Like, see the stunts he's doing in AEW is just, you know.
Yeah, Jericho would have no problem fucking with him. That's for sure. But yeah, it's like people are talking. It's still trending, SummerSlam. It's still trending. What was your favorite match, Nigel? Obviously, would it be correct to say it's the Lesnar and
by far that was just unbelievable match, Lesnar and Reigns match. You know, the way it was done and the lifting of the ring and as you said, Lesnar just tossing him around the place, not giving a feck, and it's just, you know, it was just good from start to finish. It's something that, like, of many of things to come in WWE.
Was it the right outcome feud? Lesnar, like, the way obviously Roman wins the match, and he's is it 701 days now or 700 days now? But
yeah,
is that the right outcome? Like, do you think Reigns deserved to win the match?
Yeah, like, he's come so far now, 701 days as Universal Champion, and he's been the WWE Champion there for the last couple of months, and I'd hate to see, like, the 701 days taken away from him, but I have a feeling that it will be taken away from him at the Castle with Drew McIntyre. But I'd like to see Reigns going into next year still, like, going over the 1,000 mark as the Universal Champion. Like, but then, as I said, like, if he's going to have a match with The Rock at Mania, The Rock's not going to be hanging around, so that more likely that will be a non-title match. So they're going to try and take the belt off him to set him up for that match.
Interesting. No, I love that take.
Yeah, but like, if say, for example, like, he won the last man standing match against Lesnar, but I think that if they had to take the belt off him, should have been a last man standing match, because if he's facing Drew and if he gets pinned, at least, like, keep some streak, as in, like, he haven't been pinned in so many days. But maybe he might, you never know. They might keep the belt on him that he's done so far,
Definitely. No, Joe, you're going to be going to Cardiff, right? And this fucking pay-per-view is gearing up to absolute blow your load in your pants shit. Like, it's going to be fucking epic. So obviously we've seen how the flyer has been made. Drew's going to face Roman, and many are expecting Drew to be victorious and to beat Roman. Can you see it happening? Like, this pay-per-view is going to be huge. It's really, like, it's about time, like 30 odd years. It's 30 years. It's going to be huge. Does Drew dethrone Roman at Clash of the Castle?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the right decision. I know Drew hasn't been booked as strongly as he used to be. Like, when he was champion, like, he's beaten everybody. He's had a few build-up matches there recently, and beating Sheamus on Friday night, which was a fucking great match. Even though it was cliche fucking shillelaghs and shit, like, we're all drinkers and we all fucking carry shillelaghs, just in case anybody asks. It was a great match. It was always going to be a great match. Them two know each other since they were fucking growing pubic hair. So I'm not sure if Drew's the right person to dethrone Roman, though. If anything's going to happen, if anybody's going to cash in, like, if Theory's going to cash in, that will be a good time to do it, because obviously Brock didn't want to be cashed in on again, the way Seth did it against both of them, so it would have been too easy. But Drew getting that hometown pop, locally from the UK, like, almost winning the match, in theory, doing it. In theory, would be the biggest heel in the company then, and Roman's still part-time, so he can go away and maybe come back at Survivor Series or come back at the Royal Rumble. And he doesn't, like Nigel said, like, The Rock and Roman, if it's due to happen at WrestleMania, he doesn't need the title. That doesn't need to be a title match. It can main event without a title. Theory being champion, fucking brilliant. Even if it's for a month, like, just to cash in, because it's a waste of the Money in the Bank if he doesn't cash in and win the titles. I hate when they do that. So I hope he does. He's getting his ass kicked every week, and he's lost like 8 or 9 matches in a row, like big matches in a row. So I think that would be the time to do it.
Oh, I love it. And it's cliche, but we always mention The Rock versus Roman Reigns. If someone said you put your mortgage on that match to happen, or you don't, do you put the mortgage on that match to happen? Is The Rock and Roman destined to happen, or is it just fucking never going to happen?
It needs to happen. And they're running.
If it doesn't happen now, then
they're running out of time. They need to do it. And if it's in Hollywood, like, this is, I know he doesn't live in Hollywood.
Definitely.
Just do it.
Yeah. And you agree, Nigel? You think it's definitely going to happen? If someone said to you, look, I'll give you great odds on this match to happen, do you believe it's going to happen, or do you believe it's just all hype?
To be honest now, like, if this match now, I'd say, no, that it's in Hollywood, it will happen, because, like, it's been hyped now for the past 2-3 years, like that this match is going to happen, and have a hype like that for 2 years in the making is just unbelievable. Like, no one expected Austin to come out and wrestle against Kevin Owens at this past Mania. Do you know, even when we watched the Mania there in the pandemic, before this year's Mania, when they were advertising Texas, they had Austin, and no one got that. Like, no one was like, Austin's deaf, that's a sign Austin's going to wrestle next year, you know?
Yeah.
And he just came out. Anything can happen, surprises can happen, you know? And I definitely think that because it's in Hollywood, that it's going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, the main evented, once The Rock's schedule allows it.
No, I agree 100%. Yet again, it was an incredible pay-per-view. Now, I will say this, I was slightly, yet again, pissed off with the whole Seth Rollins team. But the way Joe put it across to me, I suppose it is a bit cliche if another person came out to face Seth Rollins the way Cody did. So, you know, I'd say Cody's kicking himself. He's obviously injured for that. But obviously, look, Bianca Belair beats Becky Lynch. Logan Paul defeated The Miz. Joe,
it was a squash match, wasn't it?
It was. What was your take? It was fucking. There was some, like, I think he's definitely destined to be a wrestler, isn't he?
He's natural. I don't know what his background is. You know, I don't know much about him. He seems to be a natural athlete. Like, he seems to be able to adapt to, you know, whether it's boxing or wrestling, whatever it is he's putting his hand to. Like, so he didn't look out of place. It was only his second ever match, and they let him go for The Miz that easily. Like, Just to throw back to Raw, like, I can see The Miz trying to blame Ciampa for him losing the match, and maybe Gargano comes out and helps Ciampa tonight. I don't know, maybe that'll happen. But Logan Paul, you know, he signed on for a couple of years with WWE, so I expect to see him, you know, maybe in Survivor Series in a team, you know, against who knows, his brother maybe.
And it's definitely money, Joe. Imagine being at Access and Logan Paul is there. You're going to want to meet him. You're going to want to meet him. Like,
what's a partnership like? Just like, you know, when you get sponsors, like, you know, to mention fucking Manscaped, or you get a sponsor to come on in partnership with you, like, you know, it's beneficial for both parties. So he's got 27 million followers on Instagram. Like, you know, these people, these people who follow him, you know, adore him. I know the wrestling world don't really like him, even though he got a few cheers. You know, there was still some boos there. Like, him being a face, no, him being a heel, he's perfect for. He's easy. He just has to turn on a switch and everybody will start booing him. So I'm hoping they'll turn him heel and just give him some fucking random match against somebody. Probably him and Bad Bunny at WrestleMania, maybe.
Be Sabs. Hopefully he's at Clash of the Castle as well. It'd be nice to see him. Nigel, what was your take on Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey? Obviously, look, a short match. I think it was 5 minutes maybe, but yeah, what was your take on Liv Morgan? Obviously retaining, obviously controversial ending.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is the start of Ronda's heel run in the works. By the way Ronda reacted after the match and everything, and then with Liv Morgan was tapping out that the rest didn't see before the match ended. So, like, they could go anywhere with that storyline. It could be the start of Liv Morgan's heel run and Rousey, but I definitely think Rousey wants to be a heel because she's definitely known for, like, controversy with people and everything, and she'd definitely be a good heel in WWE.
Yeah, she needs to be the heel too, I think, in my opinion. That's a good call and a good show.
Her and Becky for WrestleMania next year. That will be.
Becky face, and then
Yeah. No, I agree. Last of all, guys, we have to mention Pat McAfee, Happy Corbin. Interesting yet again. Look, I love Pat. He's an absolute fucking legend. He grew on me over the last couple of months, definitely. But Joe, what was your take on Pat and Happy Corbin?
Great match. I can't fault it. It was done pretty well. You know, they set up the whole low below on Friday night as well. So they always seem to come back around to people, like, whenever they get a low blow and building up the pay-per-view. So we know what Pat can do now. I've seen his matches with Adam Cole in NXT and his match at WrestleMania. You know, again, it's somebody who's only had a couple of matches and they're able to put on performances like that. You know, he can be part-time. He can go on and be in another celebrity match or do, I don't know what's next for him, who he faces next. He seems to be able to pick his own matches. So fair fucks to him. Like, he's a natural. Like, he loves the business. You know, he's great on commentary. He's revolutionized fucking Michael Cole's fucking career.
Yes.
in the last few months. Like their partnership was brilliant. And I meant there was some rumor today that him and Corey Graves might end up having a match, commentator versus commentator match. I don't know whether that'll be a WrestleMania thing, but there was kind of an incident there during that match that he kind of flipped him off. So Corey Graves is trying to get back in the ring as well. So who knows?
Interesting. I love it. Right, guys. Go on, what you said, Ed?
So I wonder, like, will we ever see Shane McMahon again now, knowing that Vince is gone and stuff? Will Shane McMahon come back and try and? I'd like to see Shane McMahon versus Pat McAfee as well. That would be kind of interesting. Like, but what would you think Shane's take on all this is?
It depends on how well he gets on with Triple H and Stephanie. I don't know if Stephanie and Shane.
A lot of jealousy there, I'd say.
I don't think they get on at all, but business is business.
Yeah.
They've always said it. What's good for business. So if Shane wants to jump off a fucking cage with Pat McAfee on his shoulders, for just for the hell of it, fucking go for it.
It'll be interesting. Yet again, we have to thank our sponsor, and of course, the show is powered by Manscaped.com. The 4.0 package, guys. Do check it out. Use the promo code WrestleSlam. You'll get 20% off and also free delivery. Check out all the Manscaped projects. And yet again, if you want to be a sponsor of the WrestleSlam podcast, do reach out to us on Twitter. The team will be happy to say hello and get back to you. Do check out WrestleSlam the podcast on Twitter. It's @SlamWrestle. You'll see the WrestleSlam podcast right there. And if you want to be part of the success of WrestleSlam, do get in touch with us. From myself, Jerry, from Booker G, and our guest Nigel, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Nice one, man.
It's always a pleasure.
Nice.
And we'll be back for the midweek show soon, guys. So look, God bless, be safe. Thank you for tuning into WrestleSlam podcast. Ireland's #1 wrestling podcast. See you soon, guys, and thank you.
Bye.
Bye.